By 2030, three global superpowers will collapse. A new axis of power will rise from the east. And AI says it's already happening. Artificial intelligence isn't just predicting your next playlist, it's modeling the fate of nations. Using decades of economic data, demographic shifts, and real-time conflict analytics, systems from Oxford, RAND, and the World Economic Forum now project a world transformed by 2030. China's economy will surpass the US in purchasing power parity, contributing nearly 30% of global output. India will hit $10.5 trillion GDP, leapfrogging Germany and Japan. Meanwhile, Africa's working-age population will reach 800 million, more than all of Europe. But here's what AI sees most clearly. Decline doesn't come from outside. It festers within. The top predictors of state fragility by 2030? Youth unemployment above 30%, debt to GDP over 120%, and trust in institutions below 20%. Sound familiar? The US national debt already exceeds $36 trillion, projected to hit $47 trillion by 2030. In Europe, 60% of young adults say they'll never own a home. And globally, the World Bank warns 216 million people will be displaced by climate chaos, mostly in the global south. AI doesn't predict divine vengeance. It sees systemic rot, economies built on debt, societies fractured by inequality, and leaders who confuse noise for strength. Now step back 1,400 years. Long before satellites or algorithms, the Quran spoke of nations rising and falling, not by chance but by moral consequence. And we have already sent signs to peoples, but they did not change their condition until we changed what was in their souls. The Quran never names Washington, Beijing, or Brussels, but it does describe civilizations that hoarded wealth while children went hungry, that built towers of pride while ignoring the poor, and that mistook power for permanence, only to vanish as if they had never existed. This isn't fortune-telling, it's moral meteorology, reading the storms before they hit. Here's where it stuns. AI forecasts the collapse of debt-fueled consumer societies. By 2030, US household debt will exceed $20 trillion, while real wages stagnate. Gen Z, 78% of whom believe the system is rigged, is rejecting the old script. The Quran, it calls hoarding wealth while denying basic dignity a spiritual disease. Let not those who withhold what Allah has given them think it is better for them, rather it is worse. AI sees a South-South realignment. India, Indonesia, Turkey, and the Gulf building trade, tech, and defense networks outside Western control. The Quran speaks of a global ummah, a community bound not by flags but by justice, mutual care, and shared responsibility. Even resource wars align. AI models show water scarcity triggering conflict across the Middle East and North Africa by 2030. The Quran describes nations punished for corrupting the earth and wasting water. Eat and drink, but do not waste. Indeed, he does not love the wasteful. Same pattern, different language. But AI has blind spots. It can't model repentance. It can't quantify mercy. It assumes history is a straight line, but the Quran says it bends through choice. AI projects secular decline as inevitable. Yet the Quran speaks of awakenings, even among former oppressors. Perhaps Allah will bring about affection between you and those you hold as enemies. AI sees climate collapse as a data point. The Quran calls it a sign. Corruption has appeared on land and sea because of what the hands of people have earned. The difference? AI sees a closed system. The Quran sees an open universe where human action, prayer, and justice can rewrite destiny. This is critical. If we treat AI's forecast as fate, we surrender. But the Quran insists, Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. Your choices matter, even in 2030. So why undertake this comparison between silicon prophecy and divine revelation? The goal is not to claim a cheap gotcha moment, but to awaken a deeper, more strategic wisdom for navigating the coming decade. AI, in essence, tells us what might happen based on where we are headed. The Quran, conversely, tells us how to respond, how to build, and what to value regardless of what happens. In a world increasingly driven by AI-induced anxiety, where cost of living soars, traditional career paths dissolve into gig work, and a sense of precariousness grows, Quranic ethics offer a resilient anchor and a proactive framework. It calls for economic justice, advocating for interest-free, riba-free alternatives that discourage debt slavery, mandating wealth redistribution through zakat to maintain social equilibrium, and insisting on ethical trade that honors labor and rejects exploitation. It champions community resilience, promoting lives of purposeful simplicity, enjoining the active support of neighbors and the vulnerable, and rejecting the hollow, soul-crushing consumerist rat race. It provides spiritual clarity, a custodial role on earth. This is the opposite of passive waiting for 2030 to arrive. This is active, conscious preparation, building parallel economies that serve people, not just algorithms, fostering societies that honor human dignity, not just data points, and cultivating inner fortitude that remains unshaken by external volatility. You do not have to be a person of faith to recognize the historical pattern. Empires and superpowers most often crumble from within when they forget their foundational humanity, when they substitute justice for greed, and when they believe their power is permanent. And you do not need to live in fear of AI's predictions if you consciously choose to ground yourself, your family, and your community in timeless principles that have sustained civilizations through countless transitions. Therefore, the most pressing question of this decade is not merely, will AI's vision of 2030 come true? The far more important, empowering question is, who will we choose to become before 2030 arrives? Will we be the generation that hoarded resources in fortified enclaves, or the one that healed broken systems? The one that ultimately worshiped data, efficiency, and predicted outcomes, or the one that worshiped the divine, and in doing so honored the inherent dignity in every human soul? The Quran does not offer an escape from the coming chaos. It offers something far more valuable, unshakable clarity, purpose, and a navigational compass within it. So what do you think? Does AI's vision of 2030 echo Quranic warnings or challenge them? Are we witnessing divine patterns or just data?